It's March Madness, and Patrick and I are going to do our NBA bracket busters. Which lower-seeded teams could upset a higher-seeded team heading into the playoffs? Let's get into foul trouble.
What's up? How is it going? How was your weekend?
Amazing weekend. I got a lot done in the house. I'm feeling great, optimistic about the week. I'm excited to take on the world. And right off the bat, just to, I don't want to rush into things, but I think we're at this hilarious point in the NBA calendar where 6 of the 8 play-in teams are like arguably better than a lot of the teams ahead of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely within reputation, but it's just this weird thing. You've been saying it a lot lately of just like maybe we have like too many regular season games, which is not like a new thing. Everyone has talked about that like at one point or another, but you got to think if there were less games, maybe you like just psychologically can get a little bit more psyched up day in and day out. And it gets to a point where it's like, you look at the Clippers, we were talking pre-show, Clippers seem like they've just like completely checked out of the season.
Yeah, like amazing weekend of NBA basketball. Nuggets versus Mavericks. Kyrie has the amazing left-handed floater, such a difficult shot to win the game. Bam Adebayo hits like a somewhat deep three to buzzer beat the Pistons. And of course, the one game I caught this weekend was Clippers-Hawks, which was quite a doozy.
Clippers-Hawks, just primetime television.
Can I tell you the highlight of Clippers-Hawks?
Please do, because I did not watch Clippers-Hawks.
You didn't miss much. But at one point, DeJounte Murray shoots a three, front rim, high bounce, off the back, and in. And then so the Clippers go to inbound the ball. My dad is like, he just stepped out of bounds to pass it in. I'm like, yeah, that's normal when they score. And he's like, that went in?
Yeah, I had a lot of that went in moments when I was watching Suns Bucks yesterday morning at 10 a.m. when Bobby Portis just like looked like fucking prime Dirk Nowitzki. He 25 points in the first half. He was absolutely unbelievable. But you know what? It's easy to be unbelievable when you just don't put a hand in his face at all.
Weird Bucks thing. Did you see that they're like winless without Dame, but winning without Giannis?
That's I think that's the strat, Bucks, going forward.
No more Giannis.
No more Giannis. Get him out of here. Okay. So we kind of had this idea. It was Selection Sunday yesterday, and we're looking at the lower seeds, that the teams that are going to be the lower seeds in the first round. And we wanted to talk about who is going to be like in a March Madness vein, the best bracket buster, who has the most equity to make some big knockouts in the first round by lower seeded teams. What are you looking for? What are like criterias that you think like
you need a star who can single-handedly take over a game.
Yes.
You need some sort of probably matchup advantage, i.e. the Lakers over Memphis last year. Also, side note, one fun stat my friend Neil told me that it's staring at me right now, so I have to bring it up on the pod. The Memphis Grizzlies this season are 8-27 at home and 15-18 on the road.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. They're one of the worst teams, and they have like one of the best road records.
It's like the Bizarro Warriors from last season, except they're just not good at home.
So, I mean, I think the play-in is just stacked, especially in the West, because you look at this play-in team, instead of saying the teams, Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, those are the 4.
I told you those are the 2 second-round matchups at the beginning of the year, you would have completely believed me.
I mean, agree to disagree maybe, but I think the best player on all 4 of those teams is better than the best player on the Kings, better than the best player on the Pelicans. Personally, I think better than the best player on the Clippers, better than the best player on the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean, the one place I would quibble with you is Kawhi, but I mean, hey, Kawhi's not on the court right now.
No, he played yesterday.
Oh,
yes, that Hawks game was ugly.
Good, yeah, good for Kawhi. Yeah, yikes, La La Land. Just LA basketball right now is in shambles.
But then you go to the East, man, and holy cow, we've got the 8-seeded Sixers who have Joel Embiid, who's been arguably the best or second best regular season player of the last 2.5 seasons. And you've got the Miami Heat who have Jimmy Butler, who's been arguably the best or second best playoff player of the last 4 years. So it's like, I don't know. These play-ins are kind of stacked this year.
Yeah,
they're better than the
stacked.
5 through 6 in both conferences.
They're definitely just scarier than they've ever been. And I wonder if it's kind of, the play-in is awesome because of this reason, but really, and it's making the games that are happening now, the games that are happening in 2 weeks and the last 2 weeks of the regular season, definitely more fun. There's more storylines, but it totally undercuts the whole regular season.
Yeah.
Really, and it makes it feel like, every one of these top seeded teams games moving forward just mean less and less and less. But okay. So when I was looking at all these teams and trying to think of this, who really could go in and knock out a big dog or at least a really high seed, the very first team that I wanted to say, the team that I really wanted to put at number one for me was the 76ers. But I don't know. Tobias Harris has been just been space jammed since Joel Embiid left. He's just been absolutely awful. They're playing roughly the equivalent of being the Houston Rockets or the Utah Jazz right now. How are you feeling? Because the reports aren't great. They're bringing in Kai Jones, which
I don't know about that one.
Another center, not even to mention just the Kai Jones of it all. Do you think there's enough time? Do they need time? Is it a thing? If he's on the court, is it just he's on the court and he's back? Joel's back. Where do you land on the Sixers?
Well, I'm gonna
a knockout.
I'm going to rewind a little bit for people who don't remember the Kai Jones saga. Basically, he's kind of this young big man for the Hornets. He's looking pretty promising. He's really athletic. I think he actually dunked on Wembanyama in the Summer League this past Summer League.
Yes, he did.
Really good flashes. Kind of goes on IG Live. Looks like he's on some sort of hard drug and basically gets cut from the team. So now he's, I guess, back. But yeah, that's such a wild card of a player, right? But ultimately, someone who's probably not going to get playoff minutes. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's Embiid's supposed to be back soon. But I've been kind of saying this in a lot of podcasts. What does he look like when he comes back? Because if your knee doesn't feel stable and you're playing Joel, who's a stampeding buffalo half the time, that's not a good combo.
And if he can't play that, if he's delegated to more of a perimeter guy, more of someone that the defense is keying in on just because of reputation alone, more than what his actual play is at the time. I don't think the Sixers can really, they're most likely going to be a play-in team. I don't know that they could beat the Celtics fully healthy. I don't know because of just what I've seen from the Celtics thus far. But the Bucks seem gettable, at least in general.
Yeah, I mean, so that's where I was going to go too, because you and I have both been really high on the Bucks kind of all year. That's kind of, I feel like me and you have kind of been ahead of the pack in terms of being high on the Bucks, and it feels vindicating. But at the same time, I'm with you. I don't know if I'm the Bucks and I'm looking at this plan, I'm dude, so either we're going to play Joel Embiid, who if he's healthy, fuck, because I like that healthy Sixers team more than the Bucks. I was really high on the Sixers when they were healthy. Or you're playing the team that just kind of owns you in the Miami Heat.
Yeah. No, I see. Okay, can I spoil my worst take of the week now?
Sure.
My worst take of the week is going to Kendrick Perkins, and he said, or it's going to Nick Wright. I'm sorry, Kendrick Perkins. It's going to Nick Wright.
It just usually goes to Kendrick.
It just usually goes to Kendrick Perkins. It's going to Nick Wright, who said, I like the Heat in a series against Boston. I'm in a place right now where I have just seen absolutely nothing. I was so ready all along. I don't like Boston. I'm not cheering for Boston, but I have just not seen anything even remotely indicating that the Heat could beat this year's Boston Celtics. So as far as an update or upset watch, I just don't really see that as a thing. So I feel if we're going to get an upset from the play-in in the East, it's gotta be the team that wins the first 7-8 play-in, and the Bucks are just that prime candidate.
I think, I don't know, man. You haven't seen but what did you see from the Heat last year to beat the Celtics?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I was not picking it. But I mean, it's not like the Heat Celtics series was not the Heat Bucks series. Those two,
That's true.
But
it was for the first 3 games.
It was for the first 3 games. But this is a very different team. Even down to just like the role players, I think are a whole nother level of like. I mean, Sam Hauser hit like 7 threes in the first half of yesterday's game. This team is just, I don't know. I'm so high on the Celtics. I continue to be so high on the Celtics, but I don't know. To me, I mean, we don't even need to talk about the Bulls and the Hawks.
No, we're not going to. But either way, I think both of us agree that the winner of the Heat Sixers play-in game is primed to be probably the biggest bracket buster. Well,
definitely in the Eastern. I mean, we can also look at the Magic and the Pacers here. Like, they're lower seeds.
The thing about calling the Magic a bracket buster over the Knicks is they're separated by half a game right now. So, they might end up having home court.
Yeah. And I mean, I would not pick them in that series, to be honest. Like, I love the Magic, but you kind of laid out what a bracket buster looks like. It's a team that has the best player in the series.
Brunson.
I just can't believe that Paolo's gonna be that for them. Maybe, like some stars take leaps during playoff time. Maybe he takes it's kind of like a Brandon Ingram in 2022 first round playoff series, but they end up winning. I just think it's less than likely. And then the Pacers, although the Pacers last 2 weeks, the Pacers have had the 4th best offense and the 5th best defense. But
they're still 5-5 in their last 10.
The eye test just does not match. They just lost Benedict Mathurin for the rest of the season. And unfortunately, Tyrese Halliburton has just not returned to form since his injury.
Yeah, I think Cleveland's going to get their first round win this year, assuming it is the Pacers matchup. So yeah, I guess it kind of sucks for Milwaukee because it does feel like we're headed for either they're going to make a really big run. It does kind of feel like if they can get past, and they should, given the state of these teams, the Heat or the Sixers, they should definitely beat the Cavs, and then we're going to get that juicy Boston-Milwaukee final unless the Heat or the Sixers upset the Celtics.
Yeah.
Because I think one thing, if you're a Philly, when it comes to that Celtics matchup, is Horford really has looked a lot older this year.
Hey, he can't miss a 3 when he plays against the Suns.
Thankfully, the Suns are in the West. Yeah. But, he's looked a lot older. Embiid, just looked like such a killer this year. And KP always is an injury risk. And I think that's where it's just oh, man, Xavier Tillman.
Yeah.
Is guarding Joel. But then that's the other test, though, for Joel, right? Is Tatum is almost 6'10", and if there's been one team that's really successfully deterred Embiid's success in the playoffs with double teams and not just one-on-one coverage, it's been the Celtics. So I think if you're the Celtics, you're kind of we'll take the Sixers for sure, and we can exercise our demons against the Heat.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other person, just from a Celtics point of view, that we have not brought up is Jaylen Brown has been absolutely unbelievable since the All-Star break. He's averaging almost 30 points a game, 29 points a game on 54% from the field, just absolutely sizzling. So if something like that can stick, then I think it also can bring the Celtics to a whole nother level, because instead of having a very clear 1, 2, 3 of just you've got a 1A, 1B, then really a 2A, 2B with KP and whoever's feeling it between Drew or Derek White in any given day. But I feel the real, you indicated at it when we first began this conversation, the conference is there. If there's going to be some upsets, the conference that it's going to happen in is the Western Conference. And I mean, I'll give it to you. Who are you zeroing in on as a team that could pull an upset?
Okay. So in the West, I think it really is going to come down to the seeding because right now we're in a juggling match between the Thunder and the Nuggets. I honestly think the Thunder could get upset by the Lakers or the Mavericks. Yeah, that's another one of those plans. I think if it doesn't roll the right way, I would not want to see those teams if I was the Thunder.
I'm with you on the Mavericks. I really cannot see a world currently where the Lakers could pull off an upset against the Thunder. I just think like Shea is just too deadly at this point, and it's like exactly their Achilles heel on defense. Also, they're starting to have injury problems. I don't know. Like, I was high on the Lakers coming in relatively to the season, but I think like if the Clippers were in the 1-2 seeds, I could see them maybe like pulling an upset there. But I just definitely not against the Nuggets.
No, I don't think the Nuggets are in bracket buster territory.
Which is most likely, I think, the way
1 seed.
The 1 seed at the end of the day.
See, because my thing though is the Lakers have been pretty good against the Thunder in the regular season. I think they won the season series 3-1, and like I'm just like, what does it look like for the Thunder when all of a sudden J-Dub for a whole series doesn't have that kind of strength advantage because he's being guarded by LeBron? Anthony Davis is just owning the paint. And like really, like he's the type of guy who's really gonna deter those like short mid ranges from Shea. And the thing about the Lakers too, they don't foul. That's a huge part of Shea's offense. Like I don't know, I think that matchup really plays into the Lakers' hands.
Yeah, I mean, but you can also like speculate like what are the Thunder's adjustments once you get into a like playoff scenario. They're such an egalitarian team. They are so talented from really 1 to 9 on their roster. Do we see like a huge shift? Like really you can, especially in today's NBA, even with the shift in officiating that we've seen recently, great offense beats great defense. And if you can keep your defense to a certain level, which we've seen the Thunder with pretty good, exceptional defense all the way through, I just think it would be a really tough series for the Lakers. It's not like out of the question. And I think if like ESPN, every single one of their personalities is going to pick the Lakers against the Thunder.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's just, I don't know what the Thunder's adjustment is to Anthony Davis has the basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
like, I just don't.
Chet is
Chet's not going to stop him.
But he doesn't. We're generally Anthony Davis doesn't play this hyper physical like Joel Embiid-esque offensive game.
He doesn't. But like in the playoffs last year, Davis had a ton of 30-point games.
Yeah, but then you're trading off like one of the Thunder's other guys is gonna go off any given game. I don't know. I do believe in the Thunder in that matchup.
But yeah, I think the Mavericks against the Thunder too. If I'm the Thunder, I'm a little bit worried as well.
Definitely. Yeah, we talked about that in our Thunder episode. Like the Mavericks have mostly been able to get whatever they want in that series. And then that's where we get to a point where it's like Shea is amazing. But when Luka Doncic is in that series, the Mavericks definitively have the best player in that series.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing too with the Thunder is like we just haven't really seen Shea in this environment.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
And I think Shea is still going to be freaking awesome, but he's another one of those players who takes a lot of free throws. And like usually guys who rely on regular season free throws tend to, especially ones who get them through craft, and less through physicality. Like Jimmy Butler's free throws don't go down in the playoffs. Joel Embiid's actually don't really go down either, but like Harden's go skyrocketing downward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's a great, and just like a true like guard size player opposed to like a Luka Doncic where like you don't have guys to defend him. Yeah, he's the size of a power forward. So like there's a certain point where it's like you got to make this Sophie's choice between like, are we just going to let Luka waltz to the rim and get a and one, or are we just going to hack him by the time he gets to the free throw line and just see how we do with him going to the free throw line.
See, because I think that's why I like the Lakers too. Though, is you could just replace Luka with LeBron James. Like I don't know what they're going to do about LeBron.
Yeah. I feel like LeBron. I would like to see it. I think it would be a good first round series, a rare in NBA history, like juicy 1-8 series.
Yeah.
But the Thunder are the number 1 seed for a reason. It is like
They're a good team.
Really, really unprecedented for 1-8 series to go to the 8 seeds. Of course, the Thunder might not be the 8 seed, which is why I definitely rank the Mavericks as much higher on that list of like teams that could pull an upset. But also, I don't know if the Mavericks are even going to be in the play-in by the time we get there.
So then the question is, if the Mavericks drop to 6, how do we feel about a Mavericks-Timberwolves series? Because, man, we talked about how good Minnesota is at making games close, which always gives them a chance. But if it comes down to like a close game in the last 3 minutes in like most of these games, like I'm going to take the team with Luka and Kyrie on it.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, the one thing about the Timberwolves is they're probably one of 2-3 teams that actually have people to guard Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Which, like, you can only do so much, you know?
How have those games gone this year?
Dallas versus Minnesota?
Yeah.
I actually don't know what the record is. We should pull that up. But I don't know. I mean, so the Wolves played the Jazz on Friday night, which was like weirdly closer of a game than it should have been. And in the end of the day, it just came down to Anthony Edwards just coming alive at the end of the third quarter and just dominating. And so it's like he does seem to have a little bit of that Luka factor where it's like if we really need to win a game, he can flip the switch and make it happen. But I don't know if he can out Luka at Luka's own thing.
Absolutely.
All right, so here's the season series. It's a little scary for you guys, Max.
Okay.
You guys are 3-1 versus the Mavericks.
Okay.
But Luka did not play in 2 of the losses.
Okay.
So it's really a 1-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and with that being said, like I like the Timberwolves 3-12
Way better than the
way
Mavs.
better than the
Way
Mavs
better
3
than
through
the
12.
Mavs,
Yeah.
The Mavs don't really have anyone to guard Anthony Edwards. I mean, they've got some people you can throw at him. Like you've got homie Josh Green. He's not the worst thing, but like kind of Josh Green's whole thing is like, I'm strong, I'm athletic, I'm gonna stay with you. And when the guy that you're staying with is Anthony Edwards, it's like no one's really as athletic as him. And then we've also seen Rudy Gobert throw around Derek Lively at points throughout the season. But, I mean, if there's ever a time to catch the Timberwolves, it is in this first round series when you don't know if they're going to have Cat. You don't know if they're going to have that secondary scorer. I mean, you could say what you will about Cat's, track record in the postseason. It's a very mixed bag. But it's just a tough ask to go into something. It's kind of it's a little bit like the whole 76ers conversation we had.
So it sounds like Patrick, for us, I don't know if we would necessarily pick this team, but if this team avoids the Nuggets in the Mavericks, we kind of think they're the ultimate bracket buster team of the tournament this year.
I mean, yeah, they that's what they profile as. But we also are not addressing how wildly inconsistent the Mavericks have been, how absolutely terrible their defense has been ever since they made their roster adjustments. I mean, just to talk about it on the other side, how drastically different like their team shooting like profiles as like compared to playoff teams we've seen have success in the past, compared to Mavericks teams that we've seen have success in the past. Those teams were really, really good shooting teams as far as like we're taking Luka and Kyrie out of the conversation. So it's like, It is hard to say with this conversation, and I think it does come down to health and matchups. And if you can catch a Timberwolves that's not fully healthy, if you're the Mavericks, I think that's kind of the perfect place to be. But like, yeah, I mean, a Thunder matchup, I think I would guess it would go 7 games. It's not this thing where I'm like, oh, like it's obviously the Mavericks. I think from a scoring sense, it's kind of a wash between Luka and Shea. Those guys are just like superheroes. And then it just all starts trickling down. I don't know. And then it's like on any given week, you could ask me about the Suns' bracket busting potential, and I would tell you something completely different. After watching them play against the Bucks yesterday, I'm like, the Suns should be demoted to the G League. But then again, you tell me, you catch me after that Nuggets win, and I'm like, the Suns could take out literally any team. I mean, the top end talent, everything that we've talked about as like prerequisites to be this kind of team is exactly what the Suns are. Every question that we had preseason of like, who are the guys that are going to fill out the Suns rotation? Like, are they going to be any good? Turns out they were all great. Like, they've all been really, really good. You look at the Royce O'Neal addition. He's like plus 22 on off thus far this season with the Suns. Has been really great and a good amount of minutes so far, but they're just all over the place. Like any given night, you never know what's going to happen, which honestly has been the case for the Mavericks, the Lakers, the Warriors, and the Suns. Now you can kind of throw the Clippers in there. You can throw the Pacers in there. You can throw the Cavs in there. Like, it's just, I've never seen an NBA season where I feel like I almost know equally as little as I did at the start.
Yeah, and I think it's just the gap between playoff basketball and regular season basketball. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But I do think one thing that's unique about this season compared to last season was because last season it was like offense galore, and then like I thought last year's regular season was kind of dismal at times in terms of level of play. And then the playoffs last year, like much more physical. Refs are swallowing their whistle. And we've seen this trend now for a couple of weeks where the refs are, I guess, re-emphasizing calling the game properly. I don't know. Like
points of emphasis.
Like, do we give the refs credit for officiating basketball the way it's meant to be officiated finally? But
Bro.
like
The end of that Lakers-Warriors
Oh,
game
that was awful.
so
Well,
terrible.
I will say that has nothing to do with the officiating for the most part. That's all like review stuff, but yes.
I'm down to blame the refs.
I mean, they should be able to review that a little bit faster, though. No?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, for those of you who missed it, like league scoring is down like for like 2 straight weeks, like every under hit for like point totals on gambling websites. But like basically the refs are finally letting players play more physical playoff style basketball where like running full speed into a defender sideways doesn't just give you free throws anymore. And like, I do wonder in a way if we're going to learn what these teams are really like, given that the officiating seems like it's going to match up more with the playoffs in this end of the season stretch than it has at any point in the regular season for the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Like, I think the
For some
games
teams,
now are
we
going to be
might
a lot
learn.
more telling.
But it's also like their teams are also going to start checking out right now. We have less than a month left. We already have a couple teams eliminated from the playoffs statistically. So I do feel like it is kind of like we just got to wait and see. But luckily, we don't have to wait too long anymore.
Yeah, we've got about 15 games left for each team. I mean, it looks like in both conferences that the 10 teams that are going to be in the playoff play-in mix are decided.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's who we think of pull an upset. So we don't think that the Pacers will pull an upset. We don't see a lot of upset potential with the Bulls and Hawks in that play-in. We don't see a lot of upset potential for the Warriors and probably the Suns, depending on matchup. Kings, we don't see it.
I don't see it for the Kings. I mean,
Is there a
the
matchup
Kings,
the Kings could get where you see it or no?
like a realistic matchup based on the seeding right now? Probably not.
What if they drew the Clippers somehow?
I wouldn't pick them.
Mm-hmm.
Would you pick them?
No. But do you see any? I feel like that's the one team I feel like they could maybe catch
The Clippers.
if they just made every game a track meet.
Yeah, potentially, but the Clippers are not going to do that, especially in the playoffs. Everything that I've seen from like Ty Lue teams in the past is it gets down to like this like super strategic, super just like specific half court offense where guys are grinding out, especially if they have Kawhi, like, and that just absolutely plays so far away from what the Kings do well. Like I would put the Kings below probably any of the play-in teams in terms of like equity to make an upset. I think if they make the playoffs, like that's awesome. Like I'm all for it.
I have definitely been a Kings sleeper this entire year without a doubt. But I mean, I will say last year, that first round series against the Warriors, like De'Aaron showed like he can get big buckets and big moments against good defense. And like, it's always going to give you a chance in a first round series, I guess. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't think the Kings have upset potential. Pelicans, at this point, I'm not even sure who is going to have home court between the Clippers and the Pelicans when they play. I'm not even sure which team will be favored in Vegas. I imagine the Clippers will. But I mean, me and you were kind of like 50-50, 40-60 on them being able to beat the Clippers. I feel like probably around the same feeling now.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the more of the Pelicans that I watch, the more I am just impressed with this team. I think, the big question all along has been Zion, and at least the Zion of the last couple weeks, I could see him being the best player in a lot of series. And when you have the complementary pieces that the Pelicans do, when you can play the kind of defense, the one thing that I've seen from the Pelicans players that I've seen in the playoffs 2 years ago when they were there is that they were up for the challenge. They had a 1-8 matchup against the Suns, and really they gave the Suns all that they could give. I'm a huge believer in Willie Green as a coach. He made great adjustments in that series. And they're just deep. They're young. They have star power. Like I could definitely, I mean, we talked about it a lot last week. I could definitely see the Pelicans beating the Clippers. I think it would be a long series, but even getting to the second round, like, I don't think they're like a 5-game and out team if they were to get there.
Two more matchups I just want to ask about because they could happen. Heat versus Cavs, if that's how the standings shuffle out, or Sixers versus Cavs. Upset potential there.
Ooh. I mean, I said off the bat, if the Sixers have an Embiid, like they're my number one team that I look at and say, I could see you guys blowing an upset.
I think if Embiid is like 90+% healthy, I'd pick the Sixers over the Cavs. I think I'd pick the Heat over the Cavs straight up too.
Yeah. It's just tough.
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
It's just tough. They're just like, their big move this season was to like make their offense way better. We're going to go get Terry Rozier. And their offense is still fucking awful. They're the 21st best offensive team in the league in a huge, like this season is all offense. Last season was the first year that we had ever seen a team way out of like the top 10 defensive rating win the championship. Everything that I have witnessed has pushed me to believe that offense is more important than ever. And these guys who they're a defense team, that's their whole thing. They made their defense worse and their offense didn't get better at all.
I mean, they're still a top 10 defense.
Yeah, they're still top 10 defense, but like you're the 21st best offense.
It's just they just become a different team in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, they do. And I mean, and the other thing is like there have been stretches in the season where the Cavs have looked incredible. The Cavs have looked like a contender for certain pockets of the season. The weird thing about the Cavs is that they almost seem better when one of their core four is not playing.
Well, a little side note, and it's unfair given sample size, but going back to the officiating currently looking more like playoff officiating, Cavs are 4-6 in their last 10.
Yeah, they're not healthy. They are not healthy right now, which I guess nobody's really fully healthy. But no, that's something. Any team that is dropping below the 5-5 mark right now, it's definitely something to worry about.
Taking care of your health isn't easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the last year, I've been drinking AG1 every single day, no exceptions. It's just 1 scoop mixed in water once a day, every day, and it makes me feel strong and ready to take on my day. That's because each serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more. It's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. AG1 has been really helpful for me because lately I've been on a lower calorie, super high protein diet and I need to still get my vitamins and minerals, and AG1 makes that really, really easy for me. I just take it every day in the morning and my whole day is just ahead of me and I feel great throughout the day. If there's one product I'd recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1, and that's why I've partnered with them for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/foultrouble. That's drinkag1.com/foultrouble. Check it out.
All right, should we get to best take, worst take?
Let's get to best take, worst take. I already gave you my worst take. Nick Wright saying he could see the Heat taking out the Celtics. He would pick this. What was his exact words? I just like the Heat in the series against Boston. For me, it was a really tough week trying to find worst takes. I just didn't see them swimming around out there this week, and it was a take that I disagree with vehemently. So I went.
Man,
with
I
that.
can't wait for the Heat to upset the Celtics in the first round.
I'll take it, man. I'll take it for the content, but I just don't see it happening.
All right, well, my best take is Draymond Green. He said
Okay.
Victor Wembanyama is probably a top 20 player in the NBA right now.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
actually firmly
I like
believe that. I honestly think once just a normal team is put around Victor, it's going to be crazy. I think if they need to add 2 point guards to their roster who have decent average point guards. We don't even need good. We just need average point guards, and this guy is going to explode next year.
Imagine them with Mike Conley. That would be a problem.
Don't touch Mike Conley.
Hey, it's okay. You guys locked him down. Mike Conley's not going anywhere, man.
We got him, bro. Stay away.
That contract is definitely going to age really, really well, and they're going to ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
3-peat, and then he'll just retire at the end of that. My best take is actually going to Victor Wembanyama. He said, I know that Rudy Gobert has a very good chance of winning Defensive Player of the Year this year, and it would be deserved. Let him win it now, because after that, it's no longer his turn. Which, I picked this.
That's a cursed quote.
No,
that's a cursed quote. Jason Tatum said that about the MVP last year when Joel Embiid was going to get it. And I don't know, man.
You know what? But Jason Tatum has a cringe factor that I think Victor Wembanyama will never approach. I just think, I picked this to highlight Victor Wembanyama to say, every young, superstar, we are always begging them to just be this hyper confident dude from the get-go, someone that is so steadfast in their belief in themselves and their talent. And Victor Wembanyama is just that guy. He has just met every single expectation that I've had for him.
No, I mean, I'm with you. I think it's a cursed quote.
And honestly, I would vote for him to be on the all-defensive team this year. This guy was playing out of position for the first half of the year and looking great on the perimeter. This dude is fucking 7'5". He's playing on the perimeter, and then they just switch him to his natural position of center, and he's just absolutely destroying the league.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. This is a discussion for another time, but I think I'm getting really old head with Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think Defensive Player of the Year should be guys who just get cooked one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel right to me.
I just feel like it's unavoidable.
But 70?
Oh my God. Are we on first take right now?
No, but I mean, to me, you can't be Defensive Player of the Year if guys are dropping 70 on you directly. That's just I might be an old head for that, but that's 70 is a crazy number, dude.
I mean, I'm not voting for him to be Defensive Player of the Year, mainly because I don't have a vote, but also because I just think your team defensive metrics have to be better than what the Spurs.
Oh yeah, and I'm not
right
saying
now.
he shouldn't be eligible for like an all defense team.
But
I
he's
think
on my very short list. I don't give a shit what happened one game of an 82
No, but
season.
Sengun dropped like 45 on him, like right before Sengun got hurt. That's enough. Like he's had a lot of games where the other team's center has just gone at him and got a lot of points.
Absolutely, but he is
that's
playing
detrimental
on
to
the
your
San
defense.
Antonio Spurs.
I know, but it's not Devin Vassell's fault he can't guard a post up.
It's his guard. It's his problem that they're not offering any defensive help. Like, it's a scheme thing, man. Like,
I don't know. I feel like
everything's
you
funneling
need to
right
be
him.
able to guard your position one-on-one. And if you need a double team, like to me, you just can't be defensive player of the year.
Just real hoopers would not allow 70 points to be put on their head.
No, no.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like,
I think you're overrating like team defense and help a little bit, because at the end of the day, like a center's job mostly is the help defense. But if you're just getting cooked every time someone posts you up, like you're not the best defender in the league.
Freaking Pop is putting this dude on an island against Joel Embiid.
Oh yeah, I mean Pop's been a horrible coach this year.
Like
just
that-
flat out, he has been.
Traditionally, when guys cook like that, then you're getting double teamed. You're getting triple teamed. That is not what that game was like. Also, Wemby's playing 30 minutes. You know, it's not like that was all against Wemby.
But a lot of it was.
Okay, but Zach Collins was there.
Yeah, no,
like,
I mean, I feel you, but it's just my personal thing. Like, if you are allowing in your one-on-one matchup multiple 40-point games, you can't be Defensive Player of the Year, to me.
I mean, yeah, but can he be on an all defensive team?
Sure.
Okay, that's all I was saying. That's all I was saying.
He just can't be Defensive Player of the Year. That's
Okay.
my whole point.
What is your worst take of the week?
Udonis Haslem, my guy, the OG.
Oh,
People talk and they get into their feelings and they say what they want to say about Russ. At one point, this man was the best in the world.
I think we found our worst
I don't know
take
if we're
of the
talking
week.
about basketball. Are we talking about like
Just,
men's
like,
fashion?
being
He had
a
a pretty
cool
good run
guy.
on the runway. Yeah, I don't know.
Like best at like owning car dealerships in Van Nuys, California.
Yeah, like best at the Rock the Baby celebration. He does
Yeah.
it pretty good.
He does do it very well. We're burying the lead. There was no time in the existence
Of the NBA.
the NBA that Russell Westbrook was the best player, and I think that's what you're getting at here.
Yeah, no, he was not. So worst take is either Kendrick or Nick Wright.
Nick Wright, Kendrick Perkins for something
Or
that he
Udonis
hasn't said yet,
Haslem.
or Udonis Haslem. I mean, yeah, you won it, man. You won it. I'm giving it to
Yeah, I think Haslem deserves worst take this week.
Yeah, he definitely does. Udonis Haslem is involved in this segment a lot more than I ever would have expected him.
You know, I like the Udonis Haslem podcast is really interesting because like every single social clip is like UD, and it's like Mike Miller is the co-host of the pod with him. Like, why do we never see Mike Miller talk?
Arguably, Mike Miller is like more famous or like, I don't know, very comparable.
Did you catch any of when they had Jason Williams on their podcast?
No.
They're trying to get Jason Williams to tell this story about his like fuck up with Pat Riley, and they basically like take like 20 minutes to tell a 2-minute story because they don't remember any of the details, and it's just like the most like flubbed storytelling. It's almost deserving of worst take, but it wasn't a take.
Just like the take to like spend 20 minutes of
on the
podcast
story.
time on the story. No, I got to be honest. I've never listened to a full UD
I haven't
podcast.
listened to a full UD yet.
I can't.
It's okay.
I can't bring myself.
It's
to do
okay.
it.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know who you think could be the biggest bracket buster this year. We'll catch you on Thursday. Peace.